Hi, welcome to One for the Road, where we navigate sobriety, recovery, and life in general. Tune in as we share our experience and opinions while answering any questions you may have. My name's Marissa, and this is Judy.
Hello.
My beautiful co-host. How's it going?
Beautiful.
So, all right.
I just want to focus on the beautiful part. Let's start there.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. So, big exciting news. We're now on Twitter. Were we on Spotify last episode? Maybe we were on Spotify.
We're on Spotify and
right. So be sure to like and subscribe and follow us on all of our different platforms. We have the links in our bio and everything. So do that and
please
subscribe to our channel. Oh yeah, please. Sorry. Manners go a long way.
It was the mom thing just came right out like automatic. I couldn't even
I know. Like, please just do it. We're desperate. We need your help. And I need your outside validation. Don't forget. So yeah, but we're on Twitter. So tweet us. We're all about the Twitter now.
We're learning how to do those things for sure.
Yeah, I know. I'm embarrassed. I'm 32 years old. You'd think that I'd be like all over social media, but I'm not. I'm just not. So
we're winging it.
What an adventure. So yeah, subscribe, get your notification when we have new videos coming out, all that stuff. So, okay. Topic of the day. Are you ready for this? So no, you're never ready for it. I always hit you with it and then you have to be like,
and repeat it. Sure.
Yeah. But so we spend a lot of time on different platforms and everything. And you hear a lot of the same little slogans and just, you hear the same stuff on everything. And one of the things that caught my eye the other day was, this one day at a time. And that sounds really simple, right? That sounds really simple, but what the fuck does that mean?
For sure.
One day at a time, that sounds like
it sounds complicated. Let's just it may sound simple. My ears hear what?
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about what that looks like, what that means, how we apply that and stuff like that. I know that again, right? I say this about everything, but I'm it's just such one of the most important tools that I have today.
And it is an important tool, right? If we use it, then it works, surprisingly, right? I think that's always where I'm surprised is when I do the thing, it works.
Right. But what does that mean, right? To one day at a time, to break that down and, what the fuck does that mean? What does that look like? Because I can hear it all day long, but what does it mean? What does it look like? How do we apply it? That's the
topic.
That's the question at hand here.
Okay. Are you asking me that question?
Well, I'm definitely not taking the lead. I just do all the intro and all the topic bringing, and then I put it all on you. And then yep, that sounds great. Yep, right. I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just going to start at the beginning. That's the only place I can start, right? When I first got sober, one day at a time looked for me, it's sometimes 1 second, right? 1 minute, right? That obsession of thinking about not drinking or not using drugs, right? So that was the thing. I couldn't, it was explained to me, don't think about because I was I'll never drink again and I'll never again. And that was such an overwhelming proposition, right? Forever. And, somebody said, well, why don't you just worry about these 24 hours? And I was like, oh, okay, I can do that.
Idea.
Right. Novel. Right. And so, because I too, I may know in theory what one day at a time looks like, but in practice, right? Mm-hmm. And it's always shutting up the stuff between my ears, that for me always. And so now moving forward in time, right? Taking out the drugs and the alcohol for today, what does one day at a time look like today? Well, because I can get caught up in the regrets of yesterday, in something stupid, right? I just sat on the couch and read a book, or really should have washed the car, whatever, or I can do that future surfing thing, what is that going to look like in 5 years? Is somebody going to subscribe to the podcast? Whatever, right? Yeah, please subscribe. However, that's all that subliminal stuff. But I think that that's really kind of where it goes for me today, right? Like I just need to, and it's that staying in the now, right?
Yeah.
What does it look like for today? What are the things that need to be done today? What doesn't need to be done today? And sometimes, because I'm big on the list, I like to have some sort of structure. And so I make the lists, and it was never one of those things where I could let those things go to the next day ever. Like everything had to be done. And that can make me crazy too. So, I've gotten to that point through practicing, right? Like moving one thing to the next day if it doesn't get done, right? Now moving two. Here's the thing. It's about balance, it's not like do one thing and then put all 6 to the next day, right? Procrastination. However, so that's like today, that's what it looks like. But when I first got sober, what it looked like was, that always thinking about the never drinking, and oh my God, the things I did when I was drinking. So just staying focused on what, these 24 hours, right? Just for today. That's it. That's the only thing that I had to worry about. And when I can put myself in that mind space of only worrying about what needs to happen today, it tends to go a little bit smoother, rather than all of the, living in the past or worrying about the future. That's really kind of what it is. If I do the work, right, God or the universe, whatever you believe is going to take care of the outcome. Right. Yeah. That's where I have to stay. So that's what I have so far. Yeah. What do you got?
I had a similar concept, right? Like it of course started out, right? Everything started out with like, how do I just stay away from the drink and the drug, and people told me that I could do only today what I couldn't imagine doing for the rest of my life, and that's huge. Like, so wise, so great. That right. Sounds, and I too, in the very, very beginning, it was like, let me break it down even further. Like, if I can't do one day at a time, can I do the next 5 minutes? Like, and I can do just about anything for the next 5 minutes. Right. Sure, and it may be torturous and whatnot, but, I'm building that muscle. Right. And I'm taking it on one day at a time. And, because I'm screwed if I think about doing something for the rest of my life. How daunting. And the reality is that nothing stays the same either. So when I can break it down into like a more manageable bite, right? Like that's how I think of it, like managing it, just one bite at a time.
I can do it.
Right. I can do it. I can do this thing one day at a time. And I can make that decision, right? Like I'm recommitting when I think of like one day at a time, I'm thinking about how often I have to recommit to like this new lifestyle that I'm given or that I'm choosing. This is a choice, right? It's given if I want it. But it's a choice that I have to make, and I have to do that kind of every day, and I learned that. The very first day I walked in, everybody, you just for today. I'm staying sober just for today. Not sure what tomorrow is going to look like, and then I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking, you know what? I want to stay sober again today.
Wasn't so bad yesterday.
Right. Yeah. And the nice thing is that, anything that I've used as a tool to quit drinking and to quit doing drugs is a tool that I can use in every situation, right? Like I want to eat better. So I'm going to eat better just for today. I'm never going to talk about not being able to have that pizza and ice cream and whatever, but I'm just for today. Like I'm going to make some healthy choices, right? Just for today, one day at a time, just right in here, right in the now, and staying present, right? Like one day at a time helped me to learn to stay like present in what I had going on. Like that stuff's not happening right now,
Mm-hmm.
And it works, right? Because one day at a time adds up, and all of a sudden you're looking back and you're like, it's been years,
right?
It's been years, one day at a time.
One day at a time.
And what a novel idea.
Yeah. Well, and it is a novel idea. And I think, I think back to those, how do I get through those 5 minutes? How do I get through that thing? And for sure I can do it. I, saw a lot of things, on like boredom and fear of going to going to a tavern or something because, you don't know what to do with, right? When your time was so consumed with doing these other things, right? Like finding money for drinking or drugging or, planning it, whatever it looked like, right?
Sure.
So, now you've got some time to fill, and that was the thing. So, you know, that's where, what does that look like for you? What did that look like for you? What did you fill that time with? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's just the thing and I feel like we're a broken record, but it's the same thing, right? Like I had to get some people that were doing the same things that I was doing so that when I was even having this idea of like, oh my God, for the rest of my life, I could call someone and be like, oh my God, for the rest of my life. Like, and they were like, hey, like they believed the same things I believed. They had the same worries that I did. They just weren't having them in those moments. And so, yeah, like I had to get a fucking life.
mm-hmm.
It's funny when you're not sitting around, you're not thinking about what the rest of your life looks like,
Right.
And that's when I started, I work out, I read books, I, ride a motorcycle. I have hobbies today, like I have things I like to do. I have friends, like I have stuff and I just take a healthy self-interest. It's easy to live one day at a time when you're waking up and you have this routine for yourself. And an alcoholic in a routine is just the
Right.
best solution. It is. Because if I'm thinking about, I got to get up in the morning, I got to get my mind right, whether I read some inspirational stuff or whatever, or I phone a friend, and then I'm going to have breakfast, and then I'm going to go to work, and I'm going to eat this for lunch, and I'm making this for dinner, and then I'm going to hang out with so-and-so. Like when I have a life that looks like that, or, oh, I'm trying to get through this book I really like. When I have things going on,
Right.
I'm not thinking when I have things going on today, I'm not thinking about what I'm going to do tomorrow, nor do I give a shit about what happened yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of comes down to like, right, like get a life that obviously looks different from, and I don't have to say that in such a negative light, but it was said to me, actually it was said to me at one point, like, get a fucking life, okay? Loud and clear, because I had too much time to sit around.
Right. And the thinking, and it's always the thinking, right?
Oh,
and it's never, and I think that that's also like in a comfort zone too. I was so programmed after years and years of only thinking of that one thing, so now I'm going to focus on the future. Now I'm going to focus on the past, rather than just getting up off of my duff and doing something, right? Anything, going for a walk, right?
Yeah.
Because in early recovery, it was really my mindset. It was hard to at first get on the level of people, I'm just unique, so your story didn't look like my story, so we probably couldn't be friends, like we, that sort of judging thing, and that sort of stuff goes away, so making the gratitude list for the couple hours before, right, going for a walk, and really, even just calling anybody, just anybody. I think that those are the things, right? Like I only had to focus on that. But once you started to do that stuff, like you said, building that muscle, that was the thing. And always having like the routine. I think routine, I hear it a lot. And I know that I have one as well, right? If I don't do those things in the morning that I know are going to set my day on track, right? That it's, I feel off. I could talk to you at noon and be like, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And I'm like, oh, that was the thing. I didn't do that thing that I do, So, if I remember that I like to have coffee in the morning, for sure, I'm not forgetting that. So, but it's easy to forget that meditating. It's easy to forget that other stuff that goes along with the coffee, until I start feeling a certain type of way. And then is when it's like, oh yeah, I didn't do that thing. I'd like to just, for me, it also, sometimes it looked like starting over, starting over the day, like not because I drank and not because of anything, but because I wasn't emotionally balanced. And so stopping and doing that morning thing at noon, kind of turned it around and started over, sometimes just a nap, napping works.
Oh yeah. You know how I feel about a nap,
right.
Food. Yep.
Right.
For sure. That's my big hang up. I get mad and I get hungry and I'm starting to hate everybody. I get tired and I start hating myself. That's, I heard that once too. Like if you think everyone if you think you hate everyone, eat a sandwich. If you think the world hates you, go to bed.
Right.
Like, and I
Sounds
was like,
about right.
oh my God, I love that. And because it's so true. But yeah, it's all about like keeping it simple and one day at a time. And it sounds so like slogany and it sounds so whatever, but they're cliches for like a reason, because they work. They work.
They work.
If I bite size it, if I make it to a smaller thing, it's a lot easier to.
Yeah, right. I mean, millions of people wouldn't be saying it if it wasn't true, I
Right.
guess.
Yeah.
I'd say,
Well, yeah.
and I have experienced that, when I just got myself out of the way just a smidge, right? And I listened to listen to those people saying that stuff rather than eye rolling till I could see the
Right.
brain, you know,
Right.
And then I did it. I'm like, maybe they're onto something,
Oh, it actually works.
Yeah, I had an experiment.
Millions of people aren't full of shit.
Right, right.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because I thought I knew. I thought I knew.
For
No,
sure.
I agree. Yeah. And it's still a work in progress. I can still after like, just because I know the stuff and I know that works doesn't mean that I always pick up that tool and decide to use it,
Well,
and
sure. It's a lot more fun to, figure out what's going to happen in the future and plan it all out,
Yeah, it's a lot easier. Yeah, it's a lot easier to figure out what's going to happen in 10 years when I don't even know if I'm going to fucking be here. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
I could walk outside and get hit by a bus today. Like,
Right.
Or
a lot more fun
to time worrying about tomorrow.
Yeah. Or play around in the past, shit, I can't change anyway. Right.
Yeah.
What's done is done.
I love it. All right. It's wonderful. If anybody else have any suggestions on how to get through one day at a time? Any tools, any ways they learn, drop it in the comments. We don't know everything, despite what we might try to tell you on certain occasions.
For sure.
We don't know it all. And we're always open to learning. So let us
willing,
know what you think.
Sure.
And willing. Let us know what you guys think, what tools you use to get through one day at a time, what it means to you. We'd love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Twitter and Spotify and all the different platforms.
Subscribe.
And don't forget to subscribe. All right.
That's the message of the day. Keep coming back.
That's all for today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to hit the notification button so you know when new posts are coming up. Keep coming back.